everyone, today I wanted to talk about setting up an author website. Now I'm in the process of remaking my website at the moment, and so this stuff is very much on my mind, and there were some aspects that I felt would be really useful to share with you guys. Now this video is particularly for you if you haven't created a website before, because I'm going to focus mostly on the research stage of creating a website. So I'm going to go through the different things you need to consider, what your choices are, and where you will need to spend money and how you can potentially keep some of those costs down. In this video, I am not going to do a walkthrough of actually how to create a website because there are so many different options. It depends what kind of site you're trying to create, what hosting you're using, and so it would just make things very complicated. So this is just about getting all that research in place so that you are then ready to go ahead and build your website. So in this video, I'm going to talk about domains, I'm going to talk about hosting, and I'm going to talk about email. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk about some general research. So have a look at some other authors' websites and see what kind of things you like, whether they are indie authors, whether they're traditional authors, whether they're different genres. Have a look at the kind of things that you're drawn to. So see what kind of information they include on their site, how they lay it out. Are there particular functions that you like on their site? Is there a specific look that you really like? And build in your mind a picture of the kind of sites that you are trying to create. Now it might be that there's a few of those websites that you really like. And if those authors are approachable, you might be able to contact them and ask what hosting they use, because that might mean that you can create a similar looking site. Now, of course, you can't copy big bits of text or any text, you can't copy images, and you can't copy the actual exact look of the site, but you can use all of these things as inspiration so that then when you are making decisions about where you're going to host your site and all that kind of stuff, you know exactly what it is that you want. So once you've got that research in place, you can then move on to thinking about your domain. Now the domain is the address of your website. So for instance, mine is emmarosenbooks.co.uk and I own that domain. Now there are lots of different sites that you can buy domains through, and if you would like to, you can have your domain and your hosting via the same company, but you don't have to. So do lots of research about the different people you can buy a domain from and the hosting you might like, and then you can decide if you want them in the same place or not. But as an example, you could buy your domain through GoDaddy. There are other places you can get them, and GoDaddy can offer hosting via WordPress but within GoDaddy. So everything's in the same place, you log in and it's all there. There are other providers that would do a similar thing. Or you could have a look at the websites that you could build with, let's say, Wix, but there are other options. Build that website, see if you like the look of it, and if you're happy with it, then you can buy a domain through them, and again, it's all together in one place. Or if you prefer, buy them in two places and connect them. It just depends what you're looking for, how the costs work out, and whether you would like everything together or not. There are different options there. Now, the domain isn't the expensive part when you're setting up a website. However, it's always useful to have options for keeping the costs down. So there is an option, if you go via the hosting, that they can give you a free web address. And often they're not very easy to remember. So for example, with Wix, it might be something like wixsite/emmarosenbooks.com. It might have some other characters in there or some other bits in the thread. But you can see what they have to offer, and if you're happy with it, that could be an option to make that side of things free. As I say, it's not just Wix, you could do that through WordPress, you could do that through Squarespace. They will offer you free options. But if you would like a specific domain, then as I say, you will need to buy that. Now you can potentially make it a little bit cheaper by thinking about the end of the domain. So for example, .co.uk is often cheaper than .com, or whatever country you live in, you can get that cheaper than the .com version if you're outside of the US. Or you could use something like .net or .biz. See what other options there are, and there may be something that you're happy to go with and it might be a little bit cheaper. Now you're looking at probably around £10 a year for a domain. You can often get the first year for free, but have a look at the renewal costs. Sometimes you can get a saving if you sign up for X amount of years, but as I say, see where you would like it, see what the different options are, where you might like to buy your domain. And don't forget to see if there are any rude words accidentally spelled out, because I'm sure we all know the example of Pen Island. So just have a think about what it is you're using for that address, what you would actually like as the ending, how the whole thing is set up, and then you can buy that domain. Now, another consideration, you might want more than one domain. So I wanted to have .co.uk, not because of the saving, but because I wanted to show that I'm a UK-based author, because this is predominantly where I run my business. I do sell books elsewhere, but it's mostly in this country. So I wanted .co.uk. However, I also own emmarosenbooks.com. I wanted to make sure that if someone mistyped my address, that it would still go to .co.uk. So actually .com directs to .co.uk. I've set that up. Another thing is I didn't want somebody to buy the .com version and put something on there that I wouldn't want to have linked with my site if someone accidentally went to that page. Equally, I don't want that page to just be blank, which it would be if nobody owned it. So for me, I felt that owning the .com as well was the right thing to do. You may or may not want to do that, but the option is there if that's something that feels right. I also own sartainpublishing.co.uk because that's the publishing, the imprints that I use for my books, and I wanted to own that as an option as well. So have a think, you might want more than one domain, and you can direct domains to different places. So they could all direct to the same place if that's what you would like to do. So decide what domains you would like and where you're going to buy them. The next thing to think about is hosting. So hosting is where you will build your site and also where your site lives. So there are lots of different options. Like I said, there's Wix, there's WordPress, there's Squarespace. Those are the big players. See what they offer, the kind of design that you can have, their pricing and what you get for the different prices, because depending on what you want, it may work out better with one or other of them. They often offer deals, so they might have a deal for a new customer. Have a look at those renewals because it might end up being more expensive down the line or on average. You also might be able to get discount codes. So you often see a lot of people on YouTube or on podcasts advertising discounts for Squarespace, discount codes for Squarespace. So have a look at the prices. Can you get an offer on it? What do you actually want? And often on these sites, you can have a go at building the website and see if you like the look of it and the things you can do with it and how the building of it works. It might be that you just don't get on with certain ones. So for instance, I've used WordPress and I've used Wix. They're both fine. I have a slight preference for Wix and that's what I'm moving over to for a few reasons, but nothing major. I just slightly prefer a few aspects of it. So have a play, see what you like, have a look at the costs, have a look at what it can do and what would work for you. Bear in mind, if you want to have e-commerce, that is often a lot more expensive. So if you're going to want a shop that sort of integrates really well with the website, that can be a very expensive option. There are ways around it. You can do things like PayPal buttons or payment links that can still work to bring that cost down. But bear that in mind. If you were thinking that you could definitely just include a shop, you usually have to pay more to do that in a very sort of beautiful and well integrated way. So now we've thought about what your domain, what you'd like your domain to be, who you'd like to host your website through, linked those things together. The other thing to consider is email. Now, if you want, you can have an email that fits in with your domain. So for example, mine is, in fact I have two, I have info and I have Emma at emmarosenbooks.co.uk. So you buy your email through the same people that you bought your domain through, okay? So there will be an option in there where you can buy an email plan. So that email plan may be about £5 a month, excluding VAT. Again, you can pay more for bigger mailboxes, different options, so see what you would like, how much traffic you're expecting, what you would like to do with it. Now remember, there is the option of having a free email. There are lots and lots of people who just use a Gmail or whatever, Yahoo, anybody. So I could be emmarosenbooks@gmail.com if I wanted. I chose to have the emmarosenbooks.co.uk, so it ties in with my website and it's slightly more professional, but there are lots and lots of people who use the Gmail or whatever free account. And in my opinion, I've seen lots of companies, all sorts of different small businesses that use a Gmail or Yahoo or whatever account, and it doesn't especially make me think that they're, you know, unprofessional or that I wouldn't work with them or I wouldn't buy from them. So again, it depends how you feel on it. It depends how you feel about that cost. Is it worth £5, £6, £7 for you to have that specific email, or do you not mind? So again, you can save money here. So in terms of cost, to just give an overall, you can buy a domain, but you don't have to. You're looking at about £10 a year for each domain. You pay for hosting. There are free hosting options, I should say. I believe WordPress has a free option, and there's a Google, you can set up like a free Google website. So there are ways of hosting for free. If you want to use a custom domain, so one you own, you generally have to pay. You're looking at paying anywhere between, let's say, £3 or £4 excluding VAT, depending on deals. Often actually it's around about £6 if there isn't a deal, up to £20 a month. So there's a lot of variation. As I say, it depends what you want. There are free options. There's potential in there if you would like to keep that cost down, because that is the big cost there, the monthly expenditure. And of course you need to think about the revenue that this website is bringing in, and will it pay for itself? It's something to consider. And then your email. So your email could be around about £5, that's excluding VAT, so £6, £7. Depends where you live in the world and what the tax system is, but around that mark for your email every month. And is that something that you would like to pay for? So I hope that's a bit of a whistle stop, the basic things you have to think about when you are planning your website. Once you've got all of that figured out, you can then buy your domain, go over to your hosting, start building your site, put everything together, buy your email if you'd like to, and off you go, and everything will work beautifully. So I hope you found that helpful. Please hit like if it did, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already for more videos like this one. Take care.